Welcome to the Witty and Gritty podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Collier. Today is episode 309. This show, my friends, it is coming to a close. But alas, there is a new show that is coming, so don't fret. You will still get me. Yay, hooray. Once upon a time, there was the Witty and Gritty podcast, hosted by yours truly, Brooke Collier, and my bestie, Faren. As I said, this show is phasing out and a new show is coming. So if you want to know all the inside scoop, make sure you go to wittyandgritty.blog and you enter your email address and you'll get all the inside scoop and you'll know exactly what's coming in the future this fall 2024. What started out as a book study miniseries podcast, it morphed into what's going to happen this fall. Over the course of 5.5 years of podcasting, God has clearly led me in the direction that the new podcast will be going and phasing into. Like I said, if you still want all the Witty and Gritty podcast content from 2019 to 2024, no problem. Everything you need, it's going to be in the show notes. You can click and you can get there and you can see everything that has ever happened on the Witty and Gritty podcast. So don't freak out. Just the episodes on your phone are going to go away, but not on the internet. Those show notes live forever. I'm going to give you a few Witty and Gritty podcast stats to just kind of bookend and close the show. With over 300 episodes, and that's a ton for podcast norms, usually they don't make it past like 5 or 10. The show has played in 6 continents, so many countries and states that the stats are through the roof, and has had over 42,000 downloads. That is so crazy. You know, we really tried to make a push for Antarctica, but there were just not enough researchers who had the ability to download out there. The podcast has been so much fun. It's been listened to all over the world, and it's pointed people to Christ. That's exactly what our plan was and our goal was. We were so proud of the hard work that went into this show. We have had so many amazing interviewees on the podcast. I'm going to list out several. A special thank you to everyone who's been on the Witty and Gritty podcast. Tara-Leigh Cobble, Melissa Spoelstra, Ashley Morgan Jackson, Autumn Miles, Tarryn Sarcone, Kat Armstrong, Michelle Neitert, Callie Logan, Betsy Adams, Anastasia Corbin, Cody Andras, Annie Weber, Julie Plagens, Tiffany Armstrong, Kayse Morris, Shelby Houston, Pierre Cannings, AJ Sherrill, Whitney Russel Stabile, Callie Amons, Josh Burns, Faren DeRieux, Jill McDill, David Griffin, Randy Wade, Paul McDill, Joe Paris, Kayse Coates, Rocky Hernandez, Joey Hensley, Lauren Burks, Pam and Jerry Lewis, Lisa Shinrock, Sherrill Barbara, One Legacy Group, Jessica Day, Kelly Smith, Betty DeRieux, Rich and Amy Hampshire, Keith Adams, Lindsay Paris, Janet Watson, Lauren Coates, Jeannie Frazier, Lisa Lett Hammond, Lonnie Pollard, Kristen and Blake Kligner, Janet Clancy, Stephanie Frentress, Carissa Hancock, Nancy Disterlick, Savannah Price, Karen Haney, and more. Oh my goodness, there were so many people on the Witty and Gritty podcast these 5.5 years. Thank you, thank you, thank you to those interviewees. From listening to the audience, chatting with God, and through lots of research, this podcast, the Witty and Gritty podcast, is now coming to a close and a new chapter is beginning. I'm so excited. I'll be launching a new podcast this fall, and it's going to be so much fun. Check it out on Apple Podcasts. Again, more information will be rolling out. The people on the email list will be the very first people to know. So again, make sure you go to wittyandgritty.blog, enter your email address, and you will be put in the loop. A final shout out to all the listeners all over the world. Thank you so much for sharing this podcast with others. Thank you for the reviews, the messages, the emails, the texts. That gives me the courage and motivation to keep going. With fans like you, the show was able to have such a successful run. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Oh my goodness. I am so excited to take you guys with me on the next journey. It's going to be amazing. And if you're thinking, wait, what about Faren? Yo, Faren is totally crushing it in her world. If you listen to some episodes of hers, she is basically a reading science genius. She knows why letters make certain sounds and where it came from and all the roots and all the etymology. And oh my goodness, she's a genius and I love her so much. She has her own business going. She's writing curriculum. She is helping people with dyslexia read. It's amazing. So her goal has always been, if people with dyslexia can feel confident reading, they can read their Bible with that full confidence and not have to worry about not picking up their Bible or being confused when they read. So her mission is huge. I'm so proud of her. So all the prayers towards Faren and her mission. She's an amazing human. Oh my goodness, what a heart for people. I just love her so much. And she's a genius. So there's that. So feel free to follow along with her on her stuff. She's Move Mountains Literacy. You get it? Move Mountains Literacy. Oh, I just love her so much. So she's going in that direction and I'm going in this direction. We are still best friends. If you were just out there wondering, she's my bestie. We coach soccer teams together. We're in home group together. We do life together. So, I just love her so much. This episode should just be about Faren. My goodness gracious. Anywho, well, that wraps up this episode of the Witty and Gritty podcast. If you come back next week, it'll be a little tutorial on how to get with the new podcast and track all that and all that jazz. So, for right now, it's see you later. Not goodbye, because there'll just be a new show. So this stream will end and a new stream will begin. See you next week.